Encapsulation in OOP point of view. Actually, encapsulation is controlling the access, wrapping variables and functions. So, data cannot be accessed outside directly without using the same class methods. We call these methods behavior methods. Normally, they are getters and setters. Also, there are some other ways of implement encapsulation. They are private inner, local inner, and object anonymous class. Let's discuss them in our practical session. As you know, encapsulation can be implemented through access modifiers. But here I am not showing you that level of encapsulation. But in brief, I can explain here. I have declared private variables and those variables can be accessible inside the class. Actually, behavior methods we called getters and setters control those private variables. That is what we know normally as encapsulation. Okay, let's study another level of encapsulation. Okay, let's remind what is encapsulation. Actually, encapsulation is controlling the access. So, if you look at inside the house class carefully, you can see two private string variables and one private array list of type room. Actually, where does this room type come from? You can see I have declared this room type inside the house class. So, this type of declaration is called member inner class declaration. It means the room class is a member inner class of house class. So here I have restrict the accessibility of room class. Here the rule is you cannot access room class without an object of house class. If you go to the application class, you can see it. Here I have declared house class object and I declare a room type using this house class object. So, this is the first level of encapsulation. We implement that using member inner class. So now you know this room class is a member inner class of house class. If you look at the room class carefully, you can see has a boolean flag and owner room string variable and default constructor, parameterized constructor, and getters and setters for these two variables. Actually, now what I want to do is I just want to initiate the room array list. So here I have created a method called addRoom. If you look at the inside of this addRoom method, you can see there is another class called addRoom. Actually, this type of class declaration, which means a class inside a method, called local inner class declaration. Here the rule is you can't access this addRoom or local inner classes outside the scope of the relevant method. Here it is addRoom method. But the point is you can create object of this addRoom class anywhere in the addRoom method. But in our third level of encapsulation, we restrict that point. Here if you look at this addRoom class, you can see there is a addRoom to house method, and inside that method it just validates the object coming from the addRoom class. Actually, it first check the null and then it check has a door flag. End of the day, it creates addRoom object and addRoom to house method is invoked. Okay, let's look at our third level of encapsulation. In third level of encapsulation, we just replace local inner class by object anonymous inner. With the local inner class, we couldn't restrict creating an object anywhere inside the addRoom method. But with the object anonymous inner, we can restrict that. Actually, here the point is, once we declare the object anonymous inner, we have to invoke the method inside that. We can't create objects from the object anonymous inner as we wanted. So here we restrict creating an object anywhere inside this method. Actually, this is the third level of encapsulation. Okay, let's differentiate three levels of encapsulations. We have member inner, local inner, and object anonymous inner. If we take member inner, we declare member inner class inside another class. We cannot access member inner class without an object of outer class. If we take local inner, we declare local inner class inside a method of another class. Here we can create any number of objects inside the relevant method only. But if we take object anonymous inner, we declare object anonymous inner inside a method of another class, but the point is we cannot initiate object anonymous inner. So we can't create objects. We have to invoke the object anonymous inner method right after we declare the object anonymous inner class. Otherwise, the method inside the object anonymous inner cannot be used. So you can see, from the member inner to object anonymous inner, we restrict the access level.